Hi guys, welcome to July. I've had so much trouble again with my internet today. We will touch on Mercury and his current retrograde shortly, but I was just about going live at 11:11 by accident as a result of it all, so hopefully that is a good sign. So July, new month, pinch punch. This is the month of festivals, of summer, of Wimbledon, of pear cider, of Pimm's, or at least it used to be. So who knows what this July holds for us? The stars know, obviously, and there's a definite energetic pulse that many of us are picking up on. Astrologically, it's an interesting month. We have 2 new moons in Cancer this year, so you'll probably be aware that there are 13 official 13 lunar houses, or 13 cycles of the moon in one of our calendar years, but because we mucked around with the calendar in Roman times, we only have 12 months. So every year there's one sign that has 2 new moons, and this year it's Cancer. So we already had a new moon in Cancer on June the 21st, and the next new moon, which is July the 20th, is also in Cancer, which creates kind of an interesting pause, I think, because summer for me, or July for me, is very much fire. It's very Leo. We have the sun going into Leo over that weekend of the next Cancer moon. And it's feeling like a time of kind of motivation and progress and courage and fire. And instead we've got kind of more Cancer, more watery, emotional, kooky stuff going on, which isn't necessarily bad, but it means that the energy is a bit up and down. We've also got a full moon in the meantime in Capricorn, very earthy sign. That's happening July the 4th. Big day worldwide, big day in America, big day for us in the UK this year. The so-called Independence Day, and it's a very earthy, practical moon, very much about getting stuff done, just cracking on, so take out of that what you will. We've also got all sorts of planetary stuff going on. The biggie, as I mentioned, is all the retrograde planets. We still have Mercury in retrograde until July 12th. For me, this is reading like relentless internet problems and technical hiccups. That happens for a lot of us in Mercury times, particularly if we're throwing too much energy at something and we need to maybe roll it back a pinch or two. So I'm trying daily to learn from that. We've also got lots of other planets retrograde. We've still got Jupiter and Pluto, and there's going to be a big conjunction coming up this month, which really affects those two kind of transformational and expansive forces. And we actually have Saturn in retrograde still going into Capricorn over today, which is really quite important over the bigger picture for the year. So there is tons going on. In terms of what's going on for you and me, I have soundscapes over all of these events. So I have one this Saturday, which is July the 4th, 6:30 in the evening. We have one for the next new moon in Cancer on July the 20th. That is a Monday. And then the one after that will be another full moon in Aquarius. That's just into August, so we'll leave that one for now, but that's August the 3rd. Also up this month is something really exciting that I've been hoping to get live and share with you guys for absolutely ages, so I hope you will be as excited about this as I am. And that is crowdfunding. I touched on this back in February, so if you guys are on my list and on my socials, you'll have seen me begin to mutter about crowdfunding, and then of course, as we know, the world changed really quickly and my plans changed and everything has kind of reshaped itself in a better way. So what I'm going to be doing over the summer is hosting a teepee, a little sound temple, at an absolutely awesome and incredible space here in Cornwall. It's going to be on the north coast. I will be revealing later this week exactly where, but I promise you it's incredible. And that teepee is going to be somewhere I can stream from, I can record from, because I'm a little bit over my spare room. Gorgeous as it is, it's not very big. I can't get many gongs in here and it's limiting and it's really hot. So I'm excited to move outside into nature where sound belongs. It also means for those of you who are in Cornwall or Devon, or who are coming to visit us this summer, which we hope you are, you can come and see me face to face. There'll be one-to-ones, there'll be group sessions a couple of times a week. There'll be sound, there'll be crystal Reiki, there'll be Reiki on its own, there'll be tarot, there'll be whatever you want there to be. But what I am doing to make all this happen is crowdfunding. And that is because, like lots of self-employed people, I have fallen through the gaps of the government's many schemes and have been languishing on a pretty low universal credit for this whole period. So I'm going to be crowdfunding to try and get some support for this project, and I really hope you will take a look. I've dropped the link down there in the notes, as I said, the show notes, it's not a podcast, in the notes for this little broadcast. So the preview link is there. The campaign goes live Friday. And what I've tried to do with the rewards is create something at all budgets. So the first reward is only for £5, £5 English, all the way up to 500. And what that means is that if you want to buy anything from my site, if you want to come to an online soundscape, if you want to buy a rock and ritual box, if you want to get some space clearing mist or have a tarot reading, all of those things you can now buy through the Crowdfunder campaign. So you still get the same product or service, but you get to contribute to the campaign. And that helps me because the more individual people contribute, the more chance there is that I can get some additional support and some boosted funding, which will really help me grow the business at a really tricky time. So please take a look, have a look at the preview link. There is still time to make changes, so if there's rewards that are not there that you're hoping might be there, then just drop me a message, a DM or an email, whatever suits, and let me know, and I still have time to tweak those up for you before we go live on Friday. So let's have a look at what else is happening. These are the little rock and ritual cards that come in each box, so these are quite handy as a little reference point. I always keep these to hand when I'm talking to you guys in case I entirely lose track of my dates. Jupiter-Pluto conjunction June 29th, full moon in Cap July 4th, Chiron retrograde, that's an interesting one, July the 11th, just before Mercury returns direct. Chiron is the wounded healer traditionally. I've actually got an awesome Chiron gong that isn't set up in here right now, but hopefully you guys will see her soon. And Chiron is traditionally the wounded healer and is really a very powerful gong, a powerful energy, a powerful kind of planetary being, a celestial object in our kind of regressive and past lives. So when we're working a lot with energies around Pluto, energies around Scorpio, anything kind of quite karmic, Chiron can be really important. So having a Chiron retrograde in the midst of all the other planetary retrogrades that are currently ongoing is quite impactful. So we'll be talking a lot more about that this month as well. So in terms of what you need to survive this kind of Cancer-y into Leo-y season, and like I said, the interesting thing is that we've got kind of a double Cancer. So even though the sun goes into Leo July 20th, the moon doesn't actually come into Leo as a new moon until much later, until August, or August the 19th. So we have this kind of long crossover season where we have watery energy from Cancer, we have the fiery energy from Leo, and we have this kind of earthy Capricorn, and then in the midst of all that we have an airy Aquarius full moon as well. So it's really something for everyone in the next few weeks. Sometimes it's really nice when the planets do just line up that way and give us those opportunities. But I'm personally being drawn, and I feel like the energy has been called very much towards the fire right now. It feels like we're in a phase of a real progressive movement, forward movement, courage, motivation, action, after this long elongated period of still and quiet and reflection, which has been really supportive and useful for lots of us, despite the stress many of us have endured with finances and life and buying food and everything else. But it does feel to me like we're shifting into this real fire kind of energy now. So despite the fact that the moon doesn't move that way for a while, I'm already beginning to reach my fire tools. So I'm setting a lot of fires, be careful of that, burning a lot of candles. I've got a lot of citrine going on in my space right now and all over the house. And citrine is a really great stone for harnessing the power of the sun. It's the abundant stone. It's all about kind of sunlight and summer and bright energy. We used it a lot for solstice last week. The other ones I'm using are really heavily. The big one is carnelian. I'm going to show you two here. Carnelian comes in so many different shades of orange. This one's a little more yellowy, and we have more of a classic carnelian here. I'm not showing you very well. And they can be more browny as well, and all the way through is kind of a light sort of milky pinky brown. But this is the classic carnelian, and carnelian is kind of an interesting crystal. It can be very sacral, it can be very much about the roots, but it's definitely all about this kind of yin-yang, harnessing strong feminine energy and pushing it through a kind of masculine portal to get out there into the world. So using that kind of inherent kind of creative force that is kind of consistent with womanhood, but then sending it out there in a much sort of stronger, more dominant way. So I'm feeling that that's something I really want to be doing right now, and carnelian's really talking to me. Oh, there's my little citrine I meant to show you. Always good to have a good little bit of citrine around in July. Strawberry quartz, I was using that on my Cancerian Moonchild grid, and it's one of those kind of trendy crystals that you see on all the hashtag InstaWitch accounts. But I do actually really love this one. It's got a teeny bit more spark in it that I'm comfortable with. But I like the idea that it has those healing, clarifying properties of quartz, but it's just a little heated up with fire. I really like that. So he's been my centerpiece, and I'm kind of not feeling called to move him just yet. So he's going to stay there on my grid for a little while longer. Tiger's Eye, something I used a lot in Gemini season actually, but it's traditionally a Leo stone. It's very very empowering. It's very much about leadership, ownership, stepping into your power, taking a stand, and that also feels, both in the context of world events and for our kind of individual journeys, it feels to me like that is something that we all need and will be exploring. Our own power, our own new boundaries, our own expression of self, which may have been a little clouded or diluted over these last weeks and months, particularly if we're not able to do the things we normally do. And in the case of many of the movements that are currently ongoing in the world, maybe it's been generations. So this stepping into power is a really important theme for the summer and the year. And with that in mind, fool's gold, pyrite, one of the ultimate sunstones, a very typical Leo stone. I'm called to it earlier this year, and that's really a stone that's often protective, but it's so much about power, so much about self-expression, finding ways to speak, to be heard. And that's something I am all about this year. So I keep sliding off my little poof when I'm talking to you. I'm also going to do today a little card draw for the season. I haven't been doing these so much lately. I do practice with tarot and oracle, but it tends to be more in my personal practice. I do the occasional reading privately, and I usually do them as an inclusive, as part of soundscapes, and if I'm working one-on-one with someone. But the way I like to use cards, and the way I usually try and suggest to people coming into my space to use cards, which I really can't shuffle, is a bit sticky, is not to see them as kind of as a portal to the future. People tend to get really confused and think tarot is all about fortune telling, and to me they're just a journaling prompt. You know, it's a card to help you think about where you are, to help you think about a particular theme or chakra. I'm just shuffling these in a flip shuffle, it's easier for me. Yeah, to help you just think about where you are, what it is you're wanting to move forward with. And there's, you know, the nature of the cards is that they work in the suites, they work in chakras, they work in elements. So you have an opportunity by working with them regularly to work through all of the main themes of the main houses over the course of a lunar year. So today I'm using the Osho Zen Tarot, which is one of my oldest ones, and it's one I really come back to when I feel like I really need a very solid, sure reading. And I always start by counting out 7, 4, 5, 6. So the card we're working with, that's so interesting, is silence. It's almost the opposite of everything I was just saying, and that's really interesting, I think. Taking time in silence. I mean, I feel like that's what lots of us have been doing this last few months. On the other hand, I keep saying that's what I'm doing, and yet what I have been doing is killing myself, coming up with a billion new projects, doing lots of these where I just chatter at you and get really excitable, and lots of communicating, lots of networking, reaching out to new people, trying to find new ways to work, new collaborations, new ways of being. And actually, maybe there is, as we come into the fire season, a chance to pause again and focus inwards on our own projects and tasks instead of reaching outwards in so much heightened communication. I also think maybe this is coming out of the back end of air and Gemini season, which I always find super heightened and chatty and really quite hard work. So I think that could be something in there too. I always like to refer to the lovely Osho book, which is just super amazing. So I'm going to find the relevant page, and we'll have a talk about the card in question. And so if ever you guys want to have cards or talk about cards when you come for sound or when you come for group sound sessions, you just have to let me know, and I will be really happy to talk them through with you, because there's some really interesting ones and some really good kind of guides that we can find within the cards. It's taken me so long. I haven't used this book for ages. Here we go. Silence. Okay. 17 in the major. The energy of the whole has taken possession of you. You are possessed. You are no more. The whole is. This moment, as the silence penetrates in you, you can understand the significance of it, because it is the same silence that Gautam Buddha experienced. It is the same silence that Chuang Tzu or Bodhidharma or Nansen, the taste of silence, is the same. Time changes, the world goes on changing, but the experience of silence, the joy of it, remains the same. That is the only thing you can rely upon, the only thing that never dies. It is the only thing you can call your very being. Isn't that so interesting? And I was just writing actually in this Crowdfunder campaign, the project page you'll see, about why my business is called Silence and Noise. And I've always loved that kind of the dichotomy and the duality of the phrase. You know, silence is, people always say, oh, the silence is the yoga and the noise is the sound. And, you know, to a degree, I suppose that simplifies it. But, you know, there is sound in silence. Silence is a noise in itself. A noise can be silent. You can find silence in meditative peace, in noise, as those of you who've been on my gong bath will know. And yet you can have such a lot of noise and chatter and voices and messages in silence. So I love that kind of, that comparison, that journey. Let's see what else they have to say in the commentary. The silent mirror-like receptiveness of a star-filled night with a full moon is reflected in the misty lake below. The face in the sky is in deep meditation, a goddess of the night who brings depth, peace, and understanding. Now is a very precious time. It will be easy for you to rest inside, to plumb the depths of your own inner silence to the point where it meets the silence of the universe. Wow. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go, and the quality of your inner silence permeates everything you do. It might make some people uncomfortable, accustomed as they are to the noise and activity of the world. Never mind, seek out those who can resonate with your silence or enjoy your aloneness. Now is the time to come home to yourself. The understanding and insights that come to you in these moments will be manifested later on in a more outgoing phase of your life. I love that. So for me, this kind of transitional Cancerian moonchildy Leo energy does feel very fiery. It feels very active, but I'm wondering if the silence card is all about directing our activity in the right way. Let me know what you think. Guys, I'm going to just finish with a few notes on my little tongue drum, which I adore. That's just what I feel like playing for you guys today. So I'm going to sit myself up higher. And she's out of shot, but I promise you she's here. And I hope you have a gorgeous July. I hope you take some time today to do some journaling, to pull a card of your own, to have a think about what you hope the month has in store for you. And hopefully we have an opportunity to meet at a sound session or a Reiki session or a crystal session or at the TP very soon. And please, if you have a moment, please do check out that Crowdfunder preview. Let me know if there's any other rewards you would like to see. Enjoy. Have a beautiful hump day, happy July, and do drop me a line if you want to come and hang out with any soundscapes. We've got lots of them coming soon. Have a lovely day.